Hey guys, let's go ahead and jump right into part 2 for Unit 7.1, a balanced diet. We need to dive right into the effects of malnutrition. So, kind of wrapping up a balanced diet and all the information on that. With malnutrition, this is caused by not eating a balanced diet. So, when you're not eating correctly, that's why it's so important to know what you're putting into your body. And what those nutrients are in each of those food items that might be your favorite. Some of them might not so much be your favorite, but you still need to try to eat them because they're healthy for you. So let's look at the different types of malnutrition. First, we have starvation. This is taking in less energy than what is used over a long period of time. Now, here in America, most of us don't see starvation on a daily basis. When you think about starvation, we probably need to look into our third world countries where there's limited to little to no access to food. Here in our society, we have wonderful programs like Here at Lunch. Lunch is free right now for every single student at Corinth High School, lunch and breakfast. So at least 2 meals can come to you for free. But when we look at the effects of starvation, the body starts to break down energy stores, first fat, and then muscle tissue, leading to severe weight loss, eventually damage to the heart and the immune system, increasing the risk of many diseases. So think of people who are incredibly frail. Again, typically we see these types of malnutrition forms in more of your third world countries because we are a blessed society being a G8 nation. Then we can move on to coronary heart disease. We will revisit this a little bit more in Unit 9, which covers human transport, dealing with the circulatory system. But coronary heart disease is caused from a diet that is too high in saturated fat and cholesterol. Now, this is something as Americans we see a lot more of because our diets are typically very unhealthy. This is where fat deposit builds up in arteries supplying the heart, and that reduces the flow of blood to the heart muscle cells, which do not work. So properly due to those cells can't work properly due to the lack of oxygen, and that can lead to heart attack, and of course that can lead to death. All right, always the next fun one to talk about with ninth graders, constipation. This is a lack of fiber in the diet, so that roughage, so leafy green type foods that help our digestive system keep on moving. So this food lacks bulk for muscles to push it through and the alimentary canal, and so the risk of diseases such as bowel cancer are increased if you have constipation over long periods of time. Obesity, another one that we typically face in our American society. This is taking in more energy than what you are using. So this would be eating too much for what you are exerting for energy needs. So that extra energy ultimately becomes stored as fat in your body. The weight increases and contributes to the development of many diseases such as heart disease and diabetes. So obesity is one that we definitely need to keep in mind as an issue for poor diet. Now, protein energy malnutrition forms are in 2 categories. Kwashiorkor, which is caused by a lack of protein in the diet, most common in children under the age of 2. And then we have marasmus. Marasmus is the most severe form of this, where there's a lack of both protein and energy. Okay, so these would be more common in your third world countries of images that you've seen of children who are starving, which is very sad to think about, but it's definitely something that I think y'all need to go ahead and face as like, this world's not perfect. What are you going to do to change it? Okay, and then of course dietary needs of different individuals. You have to take into account how much energy you need to sustain life depending on your age, your activity level, if you're a female who is pregnant or breastfeeding. So we start to discuss how males and females are going to need a different amount of nutrients and energy to sustain basic functions, because our bodies are composed in different forms. Males typically need a little bit more energy than females, and then of course pregnant females are going to need a little, and pregnant and breastfeeding females need a little bit more energy resources than a female who is not pregnant or not breastfeeding. And that pretty much wraps up the diet section, and then we will move on to mechanical and chemical digestion.